All right, everybody, welcome. This is exciting. My name is Stephenson, and I've been running my own digital businesses for 14 years now. And I've been fortunate enough to recently build a company up to a point where somebody else wanted to buy it, sold that company, and was left with a few moments to reflect on this question that I was getting constantly, which is, okay, Travis, I think the assumption was you've been online for 14 years. You must just have this special gift where you can create products all the time and you'll just always keep doing that. And I was kind of left thinking after I sold the last company, because you're never really prepared to, you grow a company, you put all your effort in, and you're never really prepared for the moment when it's like, okay, that's not mine anymore. So what am I doing every day? What's my next thing? Because I'm not retiring, right? And that's what led to this video. The thought process and the studying and the information that I was able to sort of reteach myself or learn for the first time in some cases after I sold my most recent company. So I found myself with a little bit of time, and I decided, you know what, let's figure out what actually I've been doing this whole time, right? Because when you're in the midst of it, you never really realize what it is that you're doing. You never realize, okay, what exactly am I doing? You're trying different things. Some things are working, some things aren't. But you're not you don't know the plan all the time, especially when you're running a digital business. You don't always know the plan. What kind of ads are you running? What kind of pages are you making? You're kind of trying different things. So I decided to take some time, step back, not be in the moment, but be looking at the moments. And what I found was that every product that I've created in the last 14 years, whether it was my own product or I promoted somebody else's, it followed a certain rhythm. And a lot of it came down to one specific aspect, why was I able to be successful with any and all of these different projects? I will tell you right now that I'm going to expose the main finding from this. And then over the course of these next few videos, hopefully you'll see how it all comes together. But the main finding was, number one, there is a system, and I believe it comes down to 6 steps, which I'm going to share with you guys in these videos. There is a system to go from literally not having any idea what you're going to do, to coming up with your idea, to proving concept, to getting it out to the market, to scaling it, and you're going to find out what goes into all those steps and how they work right now. So regardless of what your background is, entrepreneur, you're a teacher, you're a piano coach, it doesn't matter what your background is. You want to teach yoga, but you want to do it online, or you want to see, is there an opportunity to do something online? Maybe you teach runners and you haven't figured out how to do that online. You're going to see that you're probably much closer to being able to build a 6- and 7-figure, 8-figure, and you'll see examples of 9-figure, 10-figure companies that are using the exact strategies that I'm going to share with you in this video, or in this series of videos. So that's first, is that there is a game plan. There is an actual structure to it. It's just, it kind of changes and molds a little bit based on what you're promoting and what you're going to offer and all of that. So there will be some differences, but that's the first thing that you should know. There is a game plan. The second thing you should know is I relate all of the success that I've had for the last 14 years, and I've made multiple millions of dollars. My last company was an 8-figure in sales company, and I only ever had a team of 4 people. That was when my team was at its biggest, a support rep, 2 developers, and myself. I am not the guy that you go to if you want to build a massive team and you want to have 50 guys on a sales floor doing sales. That's not me. I'm definitely going to be able to help a lot of you out if you're looking for the solopreneur approach to being able to build a business, something that you can do with a relatively small team that doesn't end up being, you're just created a new job for yourself. I've never been that guy, and that's not going to happen in these videos. But that second piece of information is that everything that I've done in these 14 years has come down to the fact, and I can attribute the fact that I have an email list to the success for that product, because here's the truth. Every single product that I've had a high likelihood of failure had I not had my own list. Because it's really hard to start from scratch, pay for ads, or make content to introduce a brand new product that nobody's ever heard of, and you're running ads to the point where you have to, make sales. But if we think about it, we know most people don't buy stuff the first time they see it. Think about the stuff that you buy. You likely don't buy it the very first time you see it. So when you're starting your business, you need a budget big enough to market to these people multiple times, right? Well, after reviewing all of the different businesses that I've run, I figured out that the reason that I didn't have to do that, I didn't have to overcome these budget issues, is because I was always building my email list. So I could remarket to people for free. So I would market to them one time, I would build my list, and then from having that email list, I could remarket to them again for whatever the price of my email marketing platform was. So let's say it was $97 a month. I could send pretty much as many emails as I needed to every single month to make sure that these prospects were going through my funnel the way that I needed them to. They were actually seeing the projects that I was trying to promote. They were actually getting to know more about them and being reminded about them. And we put them through our 4 pillars, which I'll discuss during these videos. But we did come up with a bit of a system when we actually do these promotions. But it makes it significantly more likely that you're going to have success and easier for you, no matter what business you're in. I don't care if you're in e-commerce, you want to be a coach, you want to have a digital product, you want to be an affiliate, you don't know what you want to do. Focusing on getting an email list is going to be the number one thing that's going to help you succeed or decide whether or not you fail. If you don't build an email list, you are relegated to only spending money on ads, and you need to be able to spend enough to compete with the big boys to beat them in your remarketing strategy. And you know it's the truth. If you've spent any time online, you know that getting ads to be profitable, especially in this new pixel apocalypse time frame, it's tough. And you've got to have a budget. Anyone who's worth their weight in salt when it comes to ads will tell you you have to be willing to spend a good amount of money if that's your strategy to generate revenue from ads. My strategy has always been different. I spend money to get leads, and I use those leads to make money. So it's a little bit of a different philosophy, and I'll show you through these 6 steps exactly how we do it. And the point of this is I wanted to share exactly what goes on to make an entrepreneur successful. How are all ideas created and turned into online sales machines or sales machines in general? And you're going to see a lot of, I've got my notebook here, but you'll see a lot of references here to some amazing businesses, and I'm going to share with you some of the ideas that I've had and how I created them. And so it all starts with the creation of an idea. And I want to stress this: as you go through these 6 steps, you may find that you're already at step 2 or 3, right? Step 1 is coming up with your idea. You may already say, I already have the idea, or I have a lot of ideas. But just reframe that idea with one of these and figure out, does it come from one of these places? I'm going to teach you in this video how to come up with an idea. And we're going to plant the seed for step number 2, which is creating the exact audience. We call it an avatar. Creating your avatar for who you're going to sell that product to. Yes, you know what you're going to sell, but who exactly are you selling to? That's a big mistake that a lot of people don't cover. Then we will go into, after we cover identifying your avatar, we have creating your pitch. I teach something called the creating your automated pitch process. We walk through what those steps look like. Then I'm going to take you through phase 4, which is where most of you probably think you're losing steam, which is generating your first $1,000 a month or your first 1,000 subscribers. I believe they're the same thing. Then we go into phase 5, which is iterate on what you've done. And then phase 6, which is scale. How do we actually take this thing and scale it out without having to scale our team and add a bunch of people to our payroll and increase our cost by a bunch? You're going to maybe increase ad cost at that point, but now you've got a system making you money. And trust me, when I go through these 6 steps, you'll see I did these without having my own product originally. 14 years ago when I started my business, I spent the first 2 years not having my own product. I either partnered with other people and leveraged their product to help them get more sales, or I was an affiliate for those products. So essentially the exact same thing. It's just I wasn't, getting a full 50%. I was getting 30 to 40%. But that's what I want to cover with you guys in these 6 videos. Before I go any farther and get into actually coming up with your idea, please just make sure as you go through this, if you find something of value, I would really love it if you would share it. I'd love to see you guys tag me on Instagram if you find something that's, a cool moment of this video that you would like to share with other people. Feel free to tag me. I'd love to share it in my stories. Again, all of this information, all 6 steps, I 100% could make this into a course that teaches people how to come up with an idea that you could then launch into a business. I know this is going to inspire a lot of people, so I wanted to make it available for free. All I ask is just that you share it. That'd be great. So let's hop right into it. Let's talk about how we actually come up with an idea. A lot of people kind of overthink this, and the normal thought process is you're just going to sit at a table and go, okay, I want to make money. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? That's not really how most really good ideas are kind of created. I've figured out and through a lot of research and seeing what else is out there, that usually comes down to one of 5 things. One of these 5 areas is how you'll create your idea. And I want to go in order of most likely to happen to least likely to happen. The most likely and the method to which most big businesses are created is by paying attention to your own problems. This is approximately, when it comes to big tech, I found an article that said about 30% of big tech companies are created by paying attention to their own problems. And I'll give you some examples. Uber, Dropbox, Cameo, Etsy, and Snapchat. These are all companies that were created by just paying attention to their own problems. And I've got a really funny story for you about Snapchat. Snapchat was created by these guys in a college dorm who wanted to send lewd pictures of themselves to women, but they didn't want the women to be able to see them forever. They didn't want it to be like a message that was sent that they could go back to in 20 years and pull it up. So the guy literally said, this is the story. He was rolling a blunt. He was making a blunt with weed in it, making a blunt, getting ready to smoke, might have been smoking at the time, and says, man, I wish I could send pictures. I wish I could send messages that disappeared. And that created Snapchat. Was the idea that you could send a message and in 24 hours it was gone. And you could post it publicly, and if anybody followed you, they couldn't see it after 24 hours. Originally, they didn't allow screenshot. Then they allowed screenshotting, and it changed everything. Cameo is another one. Cameo is a platform where you can go online and you can buy video shout-outs from celebrities. And this company was started because these sports agents wanted to figure out a new way that their athletes could make more money. So what did they do? They decided to come up with a company where you could pay these athletes to do shout-outs. Dropbox is another great story. The guy who created Dropbox was a developer or worked in big tech, and he kept having to put all of his files on a USB drive, put it in his pocket, and that USB drive kept getting washed. He would lose it. He was carrying around on the bus. At the time, USB drives were a little bit bigger, hard drives. So he's like, I wanted something that I could do in the cloud. So when you're in pursuit of something, and I'm a big advocate of this, when you're in pursuit of something, you're going to find that you run into a lot of problems. If you pay attention to those problems and figure out, is there nothing on the market that can solve this for me? And if there's not, can I create that? That's what makes an entrepreneur. That to me is the sauce of an entrepreneur. Is like, there might be a solution to this, but it's not as specific as mine. I'm going to offer this. So let's just say you're a photographer, and you're a photographer in Florida who also runs a wedding business, and you want a time management platform or you want a billing platform, but there's nothing that really suits what you need exactly. You need to be on the go. You need to be able to do, multiple different invoices from different companies, whatever. Let's say I'm the photographer, videographer, and I realize there's nothing that solves my need. I could then ask my friends, hey, do you guys think this would be a good idea? Right? Paying attention to my own problem, then I validate it with other people. And then I say, okay, you know what? I'm going to hire somebody. We're going to build this solution, and then you sell it, and now you've got a $1 million brand. And that literally is how most of these businesses are started, is by paying attention to your own problems. I urge you guys, get a notebook. All of our mastermind members in the Wealth3 Mastermind, I have this awesome mastermind. We send these notebooks to everybody for that purpose specifically, is write out your ideas. I don't know if you guys are of my age group, but I grew up watching Indiana Jones movies. And he had this awesome notebook that he would write all of his ideas in, and he'd draw and brainstorm and mind map. And I love having a notebook like that I can do that with. If I have an idea, keep it next to your bed, write down these ideas. But it's important that you pay attention to problems. Most people who are not entrepreneur-minded avoid problems. This is why it's so easy to create big businesses, is because most people want easy routes to a solution. If the solution doesn't exist, I'm passing over it. entrepreneurs think, man, I've got this problem. I wish there was a solution. And recently we were talking about this. We were on a plane. We were trying to sleep. And I was talking about the fact that like whenever I'm on a plane and I'm trying to sleep, the reason that I can't sleep is because my head falls forward. You might be aware of this problem. And I thought, man, it would be great if you could make one of those neck straps that attaches to the seat so that you could like somehow, sure enough, about a month and a half later, 2 months later, I saw an ad for one. I don't think that was already in prototype before I suggested it, but it's just interesting because that's something that you could pursue. Hey, that's a problem. And just by thinking about the problem, I could create a solution. Big businesses are made this way. The second way that you might come up with your idea is to pay attention to your curiosities. Now, this is how my latest program, my latest business was called Chatmatic. This is how I created this software program. So what was happening is every year, Facebook would go live and tell everybody about their new developments, what they were releasing into the market. Now, I was in the marketing space, so I was always curious as to like what is the next thing going to be, right? By being curious, I found myself on this conference where he announced that he was going to allow people to build experiences into Facebook Messenger, and I thought, wow, that's great. But the problem is, I don't know how to write code, so I can't do it for myself, much less offer it as a product. So I said, well, there you go. If I can't write code and businesses can benefit from this, that is a problem in the market. It wasn't exactly a problem that I had. It was just a curiosity that I'm like, hey, this is available. Let's do it. I'll give you some examples of some other companies that did the same thing. Coinbase, Google. Google was these two engineers, two developers who were like, you know what? I wonder if we could create a tool that crawls every website on the internet and then kind of like index them. Create like an index of all these websites based on information. That's how Google started, was off of a curiosity. It wasn't a problem that they found in the market. It was like, hey, this seems interesting. I wonder if we can do this. And they followed it down the rabbit hole. And I think that's really important. Another telltale sign of an entrepreneur is allowing yourself to go down the rabbit hole. Don't just push curiosity aside. Don't just push, these problems aside. Go down the rabbit hole of what it would mean. How would you go about solving the problem? That exercise is so beneficial to you as an individual, as a person, not even just as a business owner. It's great to do as a person. Let yourself spend 15 minutes sitting on your porch having your coffee or your tea. Think about how you would solve that problem. Think about what that curiosity could lead to, right? Allow yourself to do that. Too many people are told you can't do it, you won't do it, you shouldn't do it, don't do that. That we've trained our brains to be like, hey, that doesn't exist. All right, somebody else will do it. There might be millions of dollars in it for you. And the great news is a lot of people think that these have to be like physical products or big software tech. It doesn't have to be. Paying attention to your problems. I'll give you an example. I wanted to be able to create videos on my own. My problem was I wasn't a video editor. I wasn't familiar with videos. I then went and purchased video programs and plugins and tools that I could use to now allow myself to make my own videos. And so there were people who had education for me, right? They knew that was a problem. Other people are going to be out there looking for ways to make videos. Let's teach them how to do it. So I went and I then bought their courses. I bought their plugins. I bought their tools and their systems. So by putting information out there, you can also make a lot of money. So I don't think you have to have just physical tools. We'll talk about it later on. There really are three things that you can sell online aside from physical products, and that is information. So sell what we call the map to the gold. So sell people the fact that, hey, you want to go do this thing? Great, I'll teach you how. Okay. The second thing is speed and automation. Oh, great, you're going to go mine gold? You're going to need a shovel. That's software typically, or something to speed up the process. And then lastly, hey, if you're going to go mine gold, I've mined gold before. Do you want me to come with you? And now you can actually sell access to yourself to help people get the result they want. If you're going to teach the piano, the first thing you could do is a course teaching piano. The second thing is like specific tools that you might be able to sell that help somebody get better at the piano. And then the last thing you would sell is like personalized coaching. And those are the three things that we suggest that you sell online. But TikTok, Twitter, and Tinder were also created out of curiosity. Twitter is such an interesting story. because they just wanted to figure something out specific. Like, is this even going to be a thing? Could we make a platform that allows 140 characters only when people actually use it? And it blew up, which I think is interesting. So that's the second way you can come up with an idea, is just paying attention to your curiosity. And it's so important to please don't push these down in your mind. Yes, we're all busy. Yes, we've all got a billion things to do in our lives, but allow yourself the mental capability to solve problems in your head, even if you never put them on paper. Just say, like, what would that be like? You know how many times I've come up with the idea in my own problem of, like, I want clothing made specifically for entrepreneurs, stuff that's like easy, no decision fatigue, that looks good, that doesn't make you look frumpy, but that isn't super skin tight. And I've gone through the ring in my mind, like, how would I solve that problem? So allow yourself to do that. Now, the third way you're going to come up with your idea is pay attention to what's already working, okay? Companies like Instagram, YouTube, Lyft, Pinterest, PayPal. PayPal is a good example because PayPal is literally like, hey, banks work, but banks aren't online, right? Pretty simple. It's banking, but it's online. Pinterest is like, hey, blogs are great, but there's no such thing as a picture blog. Bang, picture blog. Lyft, they already had this like long sort of cross-country ride-sharing platform, and they were like, what if we just did shorter rides? Uber's already out there doing it. Let's just compete in that space. YouTube, you could already upload videos to every other platform that you wanted to at that point. I mean, YouTube obviously was the first one that was like just video, but they allowed just video, and it worked. Instagram was literally taken from Twitter. They were like, hey, there's all these people on Twitter, all these photographers on Twitter. Twitter's not really a platform for pictures. Let's make a platform for pictures. It's just taking what's already out there and iterating on it to make it work for you in your space, in your niche, to solve your particular problem, right? So just pay attention to what's already working. And good examples of that, like I just mentioned, but then also look at your pursuit of whatever it is that you're doing in life. Are you an accountant and you wished that there was this one thing that automatically happened? See if you can build it. See if you can add that, right? Next, this one is the thing that I think most people assume good ideas come from, and that is paying attention to paradigm shifts in the market, paying attention to big global shifts that are happening. And that would be something like a Spotify, music online for free in a world where music was always paid, right? And it was always not on demand. That's a huge shift where it's like, I got to actually like create a new way of doing things. That's not easy. Another company would be like 23andMe. All this genetic information is out there. So some company was like, well, it's already out there. Maybe we can use it and help people get their own genetic makeup, right? That, again, I don't blame you for not thinking that maybe you can't do that, because I don't think I could do that kind of stuff. You've got Amazon as well. Another thing like, hey, libraries are cool. Bookstores are cool. What if we could have thousands of book titles online that people could buy? It's revolutionary. It's paradigm shifting. But that sort of thing is happening right now, right? With Web 3.0. A lot of people jumped on that NFT bandwagon, made a lot of money. I did not. I did not jump on the crypto NFT bandwagon. I avoid it. But, you know, there's a lot of shifts happening all the time when it comes to even shifts in the market. Right? Like right now, you've got to be a little bit more creative with your mortgage lending because mortgage rates are up. So what does that mean? How does that work out for you? Is that paradigm shift going to allow you to then do something in the market that wasn't there before? So paradigm shifts, I don't spend a whole lot of time paying too much attention to these personally. I go with what's working now. But then again, you know, automating chat is kind of a paradigm shift if you give it that. So then lastly, brainstorming with friends. This is the fifth way that I think people really come up with, you know, their really great ideas. And from the research that I've found, this is definitely one of them. Brainstorming with friends. And the most important thing I can tell you right now is most people will assume I can't brainstorm with my friends and come up with a good idea. And that's because you're not surrounded by the right people. I know for myself, it's that same problem. You go from ages 18 to 24 not running a business, 18 to 28, 18 to 40 not running a business, not being the person who solves your own problems, not being the super curious person. And now all of a sudden you want to bounce ideas off of your friends, but your friends are most likely like you as well. They're also accountants. They're also 9-to-5ers. They're also 40-hour weekers. If you want to bounce business ideas off of people, you really shouldn't ask people who are not business-minded. I've made that mistake. You ask somebody who's not an entrepreneur, who's not a go-getter, who's not an outside-the-box thinker, somebody who's done the same thing every day for X amount of years, you're going to get the same response. You're going to get the, no, that's not it. That can't work. You shouldn't do that. When I say brainstorm with friends, I don't mean brainstorming with friends that don't have that initiative. Surround yourself with people that do. Go to events, join masterminds, figure out what you can do to get around other people that are in that same state of change. I want to grow, right? If you're asking people who are like, I'm content where I'm at, I've been doing this for 20 years, there is no other alternative, guess what? They're going to shoot down your idea because they don't want you to be successful. No matter how good your idea is, they don't want you to be successful because that means that they're not doing enough, and it shows a lot on them. So those are really the 5 ways that I've seen and through the research that I've done that you can come up with an idea. And so the biggest thing is listen to these thoughts as you go through. You can force some of them, meaning paying attention to your problems. You can sit there and write a list of all the problems that you have currently with like certain things. Don't write down all of your problems. That's an issue, right? Like making money. That's obviously a problem. But you need to write down specific problems that you're coming up with in the pursuit of something, right? As you're pursuing your health, are there problems that you've seen that you can overcome? As you're pursuing relationships, are there problems that you've overcome? As you're pursuing income, are there problems that you've been able to overcome yourself? And these are things that we can then sell. We just figure out how to package it. Do we package it as information? Do we package it as software? Do we package it as access to us as the guru here? Same thing with curiosity. You've got to teach yourself not to push these thoughts and emotions down. You've got to teach yourself not to just like, okay, well, yeah, that's cool, but I'm not capable, right? Find out how to become capable. These are the 5 ways that, in my mind, I would suggest everybody come up with their idea. And so if you've already got your idea, think back on it and figure out, like, how did I come up with this? Was it one of these areas? Because now it's going to go a long way to figuring out what we're going to be sharing in phase 2. And phase 2 is coming up with your avatar, creating that person who you are going to sell this product to. We need a really well-defined structure for that. So coming up with your idea is actually not that complicated, but it also isn't just sitting around waiting for the idea to come to you. It's assessing certain things in the market. And again, paying attention to your problems. If you buy a YouTube ads course and there's no YouTube ads script in it, you'll see me talk about this later, and there's no YouTube ads script in it, well, now that's a problem. Everybody's out here selling YouTube ads courses, but nobody's actually giving you a script that you can plug and play. So now I can create a script that can be plug and play. But we use a very specific 3-step sequence to do all of this stuff. We learn it, we then do it, and then we figure out how to teach it. And I'll be talking about that as we go through these 6 phases. So please do me a favor. There should be a comment section somewhere around this video. Let me know what you think about this. Does it change your mind a little bit as to how you're going to come up with your idea? Does it make it seem more simple and more relatable? It is not more complicated than this. Yes, you want to make money. Yes, you want to pursue a business. You want to be an entrepreneur. One of these 5 ways is the method in which you are going to create that business successfully, in my opinion. Next, we'll get into creating your avatar. Then we'll create a pitch. Then we'll get $1,000 a month coming in. And now we can see how things start to build up. So if anything, go take some time and write down, problems that you've had with specific pursuits or curiosities that you've, I want to dig more into this. I want to dig more into crypto or into NFTs or into Web 3.0 or into website building, or get into it and figure out like what's missing from this space or what's not perfect about the way that I want to do it. 3, what's already working. So take what's already working and iterate on it to be specific for a smaller audience. Because trust me, if you can get 100,000 people, which it sounds crazy, but 100,000 people, there's 100,000 people with very, very specific problems. I could actually create a business right now teaching people how to use a Sony a7 III camera, which is a very specific one model camera, but there's probably, 5, 10, 15,000 people using it. And so now that becomes my avatar. But we'll get there. Next, paying attention to paradigm shifts and then brainstorming with friends. One of the best things that we've done when I created my mastermind was create that sort of platform. Our mastermind is a private app that we actually have, and it has a chat just for our mastermind members in it. So you can actually go into the chat and be like, hey, I'm thinking about this. What do you guys think? Or like, hey, does anybody here have any experience with this? And just start to, communicate with other people, especially like-minded people who are more hope-based mindset versus fear-based. Non-entrepreneurs, very fear-based. They're going to say, no, that's not a good idea. No, I wouldn't do that. No, I don't think that's a good idea. Or no, you shouldn't go in this, avenue. Hope-based mindsets are going to be, wow, hey, that could work. Give it a shot. And lastly, I'll leave you guys with this. One of the biggest suggestions that I can make for all of you is, as you're going through all of these ideas, try to fail as fast as possible. Don't come up with an idea and say, well, I'm afraid of failing, so I need everything to be perfect and everything has got to have a billion bells and whistles. Try to find that fail point immediately, because then if it doesn't completely fail, now you're onto something. Now the imperfect version didn't completely fail. Maybe there's something here. Maybe there's something to that. So I urge you guys to push for that and find that. And other than that, I hope you guys liked this video. Please leave us a comment. Let me know what you thought. And we'll see you guys in phase 2, where we come up with your avatar. We'll talk to you about how you can go about, defining this person that you're going to sell to. And that then sets the foundation for everything else that we're going to do. And you're going to see that might be one of the reasons that you failed in the past. Having ideas seems to be there's no shortage of ideas in the market. But actually creating that ideal person that you're going to sell to, there does seem to be something in that a lot of entrepreneurs miss out on. So the more clear we get on who we're selling to, the easier it's going to be to sell to them. So I'll see you guys in the next one.